I think that's so beautiful because it starts with small steps. I love how, because I can already hear what some listeners will say. A lot of the listeners that come to Yellow Chair Collective are second-gen immigrants from second-gen immigrant families. They're between the age of 22 to 35. And so they're coming from like late Gen Z to very late Gen Y. And so it's of the generation of let me move out and let me be independent and never need anybody. And the COVID pandemic really brought about this idea that we need people and that we need to heal together. And I think that what you're talking about is it's possible to be in community with people. It's just developing coping skills and communication skills to look at your mom or grandma or dad or sister in the eye and say, I love you, but right now I just want 30 minutes. I just came home from work. And for me personally, like one of the things that I learned how to do is to actually show emotion. Because I think for a lot of families, there's this concept of saving face. And I remember, I love my family. I'm very close to them. I remember, and my grandma actually immigrated here when she was 72. So she doesn't know how to use an iPhone. She does not know she doesn't feel comfortable ordering. So we order for her. She immigrated to this country when I was 15. So I remember the first time my mom got her an iPhone. It was like an iPhone 12, her first iPhone. And she was freaking out because she didn't know how to turn it on. And I had just come home from school that day and I was tired and I was taking all these AP classes. And she comes to me and she goes, Helen, I don't know how to open my phone. She's like telling me in Tagalog. And I found myself getting impatient. And I think that for so many people listening to this podcast, there's so much guilt that comes over them when they have to communicate and say no. There's so much, they're old, they can't help themselves. And so coming back full circle, I really love how this is normal. This is not abnormal that you're going through this experience. Like it's simple. It's being able to have that awareness of yourself. Having emotion isn't bad. It's also common, isn't it, for a lot of Asian American second gen, like even I'm 1.5 gen, but it's common, isn't it, for people to feel guilty for even having emotions. Do you encounter that with some of your clients?
Yes, definitely. And even with the story that you just shared, I totally resonate with that myself. And I've practiced this so much, even with my own mom. Like she'll ask me something and I know she's trying, but I just can't help but sometimes feel like, oh my gosh, you don't know this? I just told you like yesterday or something. So it's just very frustrating because it's just hard. It's just really hard to do. And it's hard to always have your patience cap, right, on all the time. So I think, practicing that self-compassion is really important.
Can you break down for people that don't know what self-compassion even is, how to start practicing that?
Yeah. So self-compassion I think starts with maybe just knowing how you feel, validate it, and then trying to empathize with it, right? Knowing that you feel irritable because you've been asked this question for the 10th time. And it's not that you're a bad person, not that you don't want to help them, but the situation is just annoying, irritable, and then validating that experience and then just really letting it sit and not criticize ourselves for it. Because again, it's not like we just woke up and was like, I'm going to be mean to everyone. Something led to that happening. So then actually acknowledging that feeling and validating it and just letting it be without judgment is what I think self-compassion is and what I hope people do. And something to help with that is if this was like your best friend who said this to you, would you be like, oh my gosh, you are a terrible person? Probably not. But then we might say that to ourselves. So if we're not going to say it to our best friend when they are, feeling down or feeling hurt by something that they did, don't say it to ourselves.
That's really hard, isn't it? Because I want to pause here for a second. For people that are listening, this is really hard work. Self-compassion is a lifelong practice. You're not going to be perfect at it. And one of the things I've noticed with Asian Americans specifically is that we're not very good at that. Like we're not good at being kind to ourselves. And so for someone that's listening to this going, okay, I suck at that. So can you show me how to start doing it?
Yeah.
What would you say, Allison?
So if you suck at it and how can you start? I think it's really looking at So first of all, it may not always happen in the moment, right? Because in the moments when things are happening, our emotions are probably pretty intense. So if we're just first starting out, I do not expect anyone to be able to do it in the moment. But after the fact, right? When we're looking back, we're like, oh shoot, this thing happened, this interaction happened with my friend, with my mom. One thing to keep in mind is to just look at the facts, right? Look at facts only, take out all the adjectives, take out all the opinions, and just really look at what happened. And does it make sense, right? Okay, if someone spilled my cup of water, does it make sense that I would be upset to freak out and the floor is wet and my drink is gone? Or maybe not water, but the drink is gone. Right? Does that make sense logically? Or were they just sitting there and I was sitting there and all of a sudden I started like yelling or something? So I think looking at facts is helpful. And then just, again, thinking from a third party perspective, if someone told me this, what would I say to them? Right? Would I be like, oh my gosh, you shouldn't have gotten mad because the water was spilled? Maybe not, right? But again, it depends on the intensity, but just really noticing what you would say to someone else if they were in your shoes. And if that is still hard to do, right, just be like, what are the facts that happened, and leave it at that. And then no opinions, no adjectives or anything like that. And just kind of sit with it for even 10 seconds and see how it feels.
Yeah, I kind of want to pivot to, because we talked a lot about the practical tips and strategies that people can start using when it comes to like repayment and having healthy boundaries. But the greater Asian American community we've gone through a lot in the last couple of weeks. There have been traumatic events that have transpired, Half Moon Bay, the Monterey Park shooting. And I want to acknowledge that some people's mental health right now might not be the best. And not to mention, like, if you live in the Bay right now, it's like flooding everywhere. So it's just the other episode that we did, we talked to one of my old professors about how existential therapy can be a really effective modem for a lot of BIPOC communities, because sometimes existing can just be a huge burden. I want to speak to the person that's maybe taking care of their mom who is older, and maybe they even have a kid and they're married. There's so many things that we take on as Asian Americans, because the Asian American model is that you take care of your elders. It's that you are able to give back in some way. And in doing my own work and working with other clients, there's so much like, I just want my mom to be happy, or I want my dad to be happy, or I want to help them. What advice would you give them about how they can even start to have a self-care practice, to start even having 10 minutes to themselves?
Yeah. And before I answer that, you bring up a very good point, right? The repay cycle is also potentially harmful, right? Like it ends up stopping the first and second gen child or adult from actually living the lives that the parents and the grandparents like actually sacrificed their lives for, right?
Yeah.
To actually want you to have a good and happy life. And if we're stuck in this repay cycle and kind of stuck in those negative emotions all the time, like if we had an empty cup and that's our energy vessel and we keep filling it up, but we never do any self-care, we don't pour out any of the water, eventually it's going to fill to the top, it's going to overflow. And then the whole idea of moving over here to have a better life actually is out the door, right? Because we're living in pain, living in like deep anxiety and depression and just stress all the time, which isn't also what our parents and ancestors would want for us. So yeah, how to start even having 10 minutes of that, right? I think it's just maybe even planning ahead, right? Don't try to do it in the moment if that is already something that we don't do, where we don't take care of ourselves. So even planning like for tomorrow or like a weekend, right? Where in my schedule can I like drive somewhere, maybe after work, and even sit for 5-10 minutes by myself before coming home, so that I can just decompress a little bit, watch like my favorite music video and then come home or something, right? Listen to my favorite song, go for a walk around the block before actually heading back home when I know that it's going to be really hard for me to step out or even have alone time or feel guilty in having alone time at home. So planning it ahead so that it's small enough that we won't be like, oh my gosh, it's like a whole hour. Like I can't do that. And making it doable, making it realistic, and really planning ahead so that we don't fight that later on. And then if it's small enough, we won't feel so anxious that we could actually just sit with it and feel uncomfortable, but still do it so that water doesn't overflow.
I love how you talked about overflow, because for a lot of people, they almost see it in this like very like empty cup, full cup type of way. Like my energy is full and then I don't have energy. But you also have to see it from this perspective of there are so many people who want your energy and there's a lot being poured in. Hey, Allison, I need this. And then your need overflows, but your energy is low. And so I love what you said of like even small increments, even starting with 5 increments of time in the car where you can just sit and listen to music or your favorite podcast or go on a drive, maybe even go to the gym before you go to work. For the people listening to this who really want like the big picture, because I think we started with the starter or beginner person, but maybe someone's going to therapy already and they're processing all of this and they already have this practice in place. Ultimately, what is the goal? What is the mission of like relationship with family by the end of like therapy or by the end of just like this self-care practice? So what's the take of, yeah, go ahead.
So I'm thinking the goal for at least the clients that I've worked with and the people that I've come in contact with who identify as first and second gen, it's never to leave their family. It is actually having a better balance, right? I think it's just recognizing that you can show up for your family and you definitely, not you, but most people that I talk to want to continue to show up. So it's really making sure that when we do show up for them and do things for them, like how do we want to feel, right? Do we want to feel irritable all the time and then be mad at ourselves for being irritable when that situation is very appropriate? Or just, because then I think the guilt kicks in when we start noticing only the negatives, but also then practicing balancing out that perspective, knowing that it's going to be there. I said it in this way that I didn't really like, and I still help them. The and is going to be really important so that we just balance out that view. And it's going to be an ongoing thing. In therapy for years, like it's something I still work with, right? Like something I still try to make sure I am very mindful of every day, because I don't want to negate the positives of what I did just because I felt a certain way. And I also don't want to dismiss my feelings. So it's just like having a big balance, and it's going to be ongoing work. So I think making sure that we continue to check ourselves, reflect, and not only find things to nitpick about ourselves.
Yeah. And for people that are listening, like listener, like what you're doing is incredible work, because not everyone has the immense responsibility or the incredible honor or of being able to take care of their parents in this way. And oftentimes, Allison, people walk into our offices just tired, where they're like, I'm the only one who feels this way, or I feel like I'm the only one who's carrying this burden, despite the fact that maybe this wasn't something that they were supposed to go through. This wasn't something that their ancestors wanted them to go through. Because the big picture for a lot of Asian cultures is that you have a tribe of people taking care of you. It's where it's not just you. And so can you paint context to this experience for someone that's listening?
Yeah. So what you bring up is a good point, right? Like back in Vietnam, probably where my parents grew up, they had family all around them. But yeah, when the migration also happens and you're in a new country, that tribe is smaller, if at all existing. So I think for the first and second gen person who's struggling with this, it's really going to be really important for them to find other people feel similar to them who can understand it. So going back to having community, we also don't want to be around people who are going to tell us all the time to just don't answer your mom or don't just cut them out. That is going to be in conflict with our values. So also be surrounding ourselves with people who may understand us better. They may not agree with us and do the same things that we do, which is fine. But to not have such opposing values in your community is also going to be helpful. So then you don't feel that conflict at home already, and then go to your support system and then also feel like no one understands me, right? Then it's just going to add so much more negative self-talk and self-criticism when actually we're probably doing a lot, right? And already trying so hard to like help the people that we care about and just trying to stay afloat.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you know when someone is a healthy person to be around?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think first is just noticing if you're able to share what you're feeling. And everything is baby steps when we don't do it, when we're not doing a lot of the self-care stuff and sharing and venting, dropping little drops of water, seeing how people respond to it, but also noticing how we feel when we're sharing. Of course, we're going to feel worried and, oh my gosh, I don't know what they're going to think and all that kind of self-talk. But are they listening? Are they attentive? Are they actually trying to support me versus like they're telling me what to do or being very dismissive or not even listening or judging me? So it really is a reflection on the person to see how they feel. And I think, again, going back to boundary setting, which may not be like a tool that people might use right away, but are we also able to set boundaries with people and they respect it, right? Are we able to share different thoughts than what they have and not have it like thrown back at us and to make us feel bad or criticize us for it? I think those are the main things, especially if we're already not keen on sharing, keen on getting support, just noticing how we feel and seeing like what they share about themselves, right? If it's in value with us.
Yeah. So I'm hearing you say, just watch for whether or not you feel listened to, trust your gut. If you feel judged or if you feel like you're being excluded in some sort of way, then that person probably isn't a safe person, because it's important to find people that are seeking first to understand you and to understand where you're coming from. And I think that what I've noticed is that because of the pandemic, we've almost had to become more introspective and have had to look inside. I know that I feel more like an existential philosopher now that the pandemic hit, but I think that it's time for us to let people in, to let the right people in, to grow those healthy relationships. And you never know when you plant a seed, you never know what's going to sprout out of that friendship. And so I want to be respectful of your time, Allison, and leave you with this question. If you were to go back to maybe 10-year-old you or 13-year-old you and give yourself advice, knowing what you know now as a therapist, what sort of advice would you give her and on how to cope with a lot of the internal struggles that she's feeling?
Yeah, that's a great question. So many thoughts. I need to think about this for a second. I think if I were to be able to speak to my 10-year-old self, and actually any first and second gen 10-year-old self, hopefully, just know that like you're doing, like your 10-year-old Allison, you're doing a lot. You're doing the best you can, right? Like you're really trying to take care of people that you love. You're trying to figure out what you like, your own identity. And it's difficult when not everyone around you is aware of the experiences that you're going through. And it's tough. So I'm doing the best that they can. You're doing a lot. What you're doing is good enough. And what you're doing is a lot and it is enough, right? I think that is something I wish, I don't know, somehow I could have heard more, or I hope that most first and second gen hear a lot, because in the repay cycle too, when we keeps helping and sacrificing our own needs and doing things for other people, it can feel like it's never enough and it's not good enough, but it is. And I hope, anyone listening can just really sit with that. And
that's so good.
Yeah. Tell their younger selves that too, because I like hearing that. I hope it helps.
That really does help, because I think it even speaks to myself. I didn't really feel like I had permission to almost search for my own happiness, because I felt the need to almost like, I guess it wasn't almost like my parents never told me like, I want you to be this. But there's something about being an immigrant kid where you see your parents struggle, or you see how much they work hard and they get discriminated against, and their accent people make fun of, that there's something that I notice with so many clients where they just want to make their parents happy. And I remember being that kid of, I can't get a B. My mom's not going to be happy about this, even though they never said to me like, Helen, get all A's. They never once told me that. But I can see like sometimes that mentality of wanting to make our parents happy drives us to the point where we get into careers that we don't even like. And I think that like you're speaking so much to listeners who are listening to this show and saying, oh, I'm doing enough. Like I am enough by being me. I am enough. And thank you so much for your time, Allison.
Thank you so much, Helen.
Yeah.